Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to discuss about technical analysis and macro analysis for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. We go through the charts for knowing what is the actual situation for Bitcoin and try to investigate for the projection of the price in the next month. In this moment, more than ever, it's important to know what is the next phase of the market, and the macroeconomic situation is very particular, and for different reasons that we go through in this video. These obviously affect the crypto world for many reasons. In the first place, the liquidity in the market. So, if you are interested to know what I'm doing right now and what I think about the market, stay until the end of the video. For who don't know about me, my name is Samuele, I'm a crypto investor. In this channel I talk about cryptocurrency, new crypto project, the current economic situation and much more. If you are interested in that type of content, please subscribe to the channel for not losing any video and thumbs up the video for helping this channel for grow. I remember you that all I said in this video is as an informational purpose and not a financial advice. Also, I have a Telegram group in which we talk about the same type of content, and I leave the link in the description. So let's talk about Bitcoin. So let's do some technical analysis on Bitcoin, that obviously is the most representative coin in the crypto market, and we do technical analysis and then macroeconomics with some information news about the markets. So what's next about Bitcoin? For a pure technical perspective, Bitcoin has a good chart, is a good price action for now, because we see that the price is never go to the $30,000, and in this moment we are above the point of control, and also we are above more or less this enormous amount of volume. But in the specific, if you go on the 4 hour, that we are in a weekly time frame, we see that the Bitcoin is printing this triangle, that is a bullish triangle. If the price break the level of $44,000, maybe this pattern is complete, and maybe we can see the price going to the $47,000. Also, I want to point out that in macro perspective, in the weekly time frame, there is this channel that is very symmetrical, and if this is right, maybe we are at the bottom of this pattern. Also, I will point out that this is my area of attention, because if we go below the point of control, it's very probable that we going through this area, and in this area I think I will accumulating much more crypto. With the bands of Bollinger, we see that the volatility is very high in this moment, but not so much at the end. All this red line represent a minor point of control, and for knowing what is the major area for the volumes. Also, I want to point out that the weekly candle, if we see the weekly close above this in this triangle, is very bullish. Obviously, if we can close another weekly above the $43,000, is very bullish, and in that case I think a bounce to the $46,000 it's very probable. So let's talk about the Bitcoin dominance, that in this moment is near my area of attention. In the contrary of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin dominance is printing out a descending triangle. That means that if we go below the 40%, maybe it's confirmed this pattern, but I do not pay so much attention to the patterns on the Bitcoin dominance. Anyway, we see that the Bitcoin dominance is go to this area. In this moment we have a rejection from this area, but I think we can reach easily the 45% with this type of macroeconomic situation. So I think the point of control in this case is not very interesting. So let's talk about Ethereum, that obviously is very similar to Bitcoin. We see the same channels. We see that in general the charts is it's more bullish respect to Bitcoin, but not in the last period, because we see that Bitcoin is much more bullish. It's in a bullish triangle in respect to Ethereum that is to the bottom, and we see that there is an equal triangle. Before we go to the traditional markets and go through a macroeconomic situation, I will point out that altcoins in this type of period is not so much performing or overperforming Bitcoin. So is the contrary. Normally Bitcoin outperforming the altcoins because the dominance is trending up, and obviously for the risk-off situation that we see in the market. For that reason, the altcoins is not a suggested buy in this moment, but for the long term maybe can be a good spot for buying some part of our position for the long term, obviously. In the short term, I already point out that maybe we can see a swing trade on the Bitcoin if we broke the $43,000, but obviously that there isn't a strong trend, and we have to know in the future what is the situation. So let's talk about macroeconomic situation, and we see that in this month, so in on the 15th or 16th of this month, the Federal Reserve has the meeting in which we will talk about the interest rate and how much it will raise the interest rate. In this moment, they say that there is a 25 base point increase, but I really think that is not enough, and I think Federal Reserve or Jerome Powell will increase much more the interest rate. I don't know how much, but with the war and the inflation that rise, I think the only tool that has the Federal Reserve is the interest rate. And if this happen in the interest rate increases much more than expected, I think the cryptocurrency can have some shock dump in the short term. Also, we see the report of the inflation that is 7.9%, and obviously in this case before oil spike. This is a 40 years high for the inflation and is very particular. We don't see that type of valuation from 1970, and for other reasons I think from an macroeconomics perspective is not one of the most favorable situation for the markets, because our economy is not built for maintaining high inflation for a long period. Other point that I want to point out is the interest rate on the bonds, the yield of the bonds. We see that today we are at 2%. That we see that the markets of bond is going down because this the interest rate then go up. This opposite. That this means that the bonds, the investors are selling their bonds, and this maybe is for the inflation, is much probable for the inflation. Other metrics I want to point out is the dollar, that is at an era of interest from my point of view, that is from 98 to 100, and we will see how it responds. I think the dollar in this case is not collapse until a black swan or a other very scary situation, because in this moment bonds and dollar are the reserve of value in which the investor invest their money for protecting from the stagflation or the recession situation that can lead this this macroeconomic situation. From a stock markets perspective, we see that the SPY is breaking the point of control and printed these very scary candles of 2.8% in negative, of course, and we see the Nasdaq that is doing the same. Also, another point very interesting, much more the charts of S&P and Nasdaq, is the VIX. The VIX is the volatility of the S&P 500, and it's very important because we know that when there is a lot of volatility, normally the markets are more risk averse and obviously risk off. We see that nowadays we are at 30%. We are at 30, and in general is a very high situation. My point of view is that when we are above the 25, for my point of view, is a high volatility. Another point is about the EVD and EVF that are in ETF on the value stock with a denominator of an ETF on the growth stock. So this is my main metric for the risk off, risk on situation. What is the actual situation for that? The last period is characterized for a risk off situation in which the value stock outperforming the growth stock. We see also that from a technical perspective we are in a channel that if we broke from the 0.64, maybe we can see an uptrend. And I want to point out that this is not good for the crypto markets in general. Also, the last part is about the commodity that is performing very well in the last period. We see that obviously because we have an inflation very high, and for the war with the Ukraine, the commodity is very bullish in this period. We see that the gold from this low is doing a 16% because this has a lot of capitalization, and we see that the oil especially we go out at $130 and nowadays 104. It's very interesting how the commodity will work out, because in oil above the 100 is not positive for the markets. I saw a chart that indicated that every time that the oil go above the $100, the next 6-12 months there wasn't a recession in the economy. So we talk about what is the actual situation in macroeconomics and technical perspective. I want to point out some points, in the particular Bitcoin, that is from a technical perspective a good chart for a technical perspective, but for a macroeconomics perspective is not the best, because the actual macroeconomic situation and the data that we see is not for the Bitcoin to raise, because the liquidity is trending down for the market, from the markets, because the interest rate, because the fear of the inflation, because the fear of the war, because of the fear of the recession, and in general the people doesn't want to expose their capital to the risky assets like cryptocurrency or Nasdaq. This doesn't mean that the Bitcoin can reach the $50,000, and I hope it do that, but from an economics perspective I don't think it will happen. In this moment what I recommend is if you are a long-term holder of cryptocurrency, obviously don't move your cryptocurrency, hold with a diamond hands, and in general I will await for more dips in the market for accumulating for the long term, if you are a hodler to the long term. If you are a short-term swing trader, I recommend you to, if you have already your strategy, of course follow it. But if you don't, my strategy is to use the macroeconomic situation for taking profits from other markets, for then reverse this profit in the long-term investment in the cryptocurrency, or maybe swing trading in the crypto when the markets has a positive sign. In particular, in this moment, I trade gold, US oil, natural gas. That is the commodity that we see that performing very well in this type of scenario. Of course, I think also in the next month it will outperform in the market, because the next two phases that I will see is the stagflation or the recession. All depends on what the Fed decide to do with the interest rates. In each case, the gold, for example, is one of the safest investment right now. So let me know in the comment what do you think about that topic, and what do you think it will happen. Let me know in the comment if you have some cryptocurrencies that you want to analyze in another video, or if you have any questions. Please subscribe to the channel for not losing any video, and thumbs up the video for helping this channel for growth. We will see in the next video.